All right, welcome to the Spoiler Kings. My name is Tank Kramer. I'm with Will Peppa MD. How you doing?
What's up? Doing great, man.
Yeah. So
Happy
if
to
you're
be here.
watching live, this is part of our double feature that we did on Monday. If you're watching replay, you're just getting this movie. So if you want to go check out our other movie, go click on that video on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Spoiler Kings. We got our thing, our custom URL. But scared your wife. Say what?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this one we're doing Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the new one that just came out this past weekend over on Netflix. Yeah, man, we watched the trailer reaction when they first announced it a month ago, maybe 2 months ago at this point. We were both pretty excited, it seemed like. So I'm curious to see your takes on this movie. But first, you want to do the trailer? Do a quick little breakdown of the movie?
Yes, sir.
All right, go for it.
So, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022 dives in 50 years after the events of the first movie. Melody Sarah, played by Sarah Yarkin, and her sister Lila, played by Elsie Fisher, the two main protagonists of the movie, and their entrepreneur friends Dante, played by Jacob Lattimore, who's in the Shy TV show, and Ruth, played by Nell Hudson, arrive at Harlow, a small town in Texas, with the intention of renovating it. So pretty much gentrification in full motion 2022. However, an old lady named Virginia claims that she owns the deed to her orphanage that's in the town that all these kids, these young adults, are trying to take over, prompting Dante to call the cops on her. Rough. Her health deteriorates as she starts to freak out on all these kids saying that they're going to take over her orphanage and whatnot. So they are, what is it? Her health deteriorates, forcing the only resident of the orphanage to rush her to the hospital along with Ruth. That's it without spoiling too much. From the trailer, let me see. Another synopsis mentions that this is 50 years again after Leatherface goes into hiding. He's already like old man Leatherface, but still the same sinister mother effer.
Yeah.
That's about it. Let's see. Yeah, that's all I got.
No.
Crazy movie. Killing scenes are on point. My son knows who Leatherface is. He's not scared of him, right? You're not scared of Leatherface? Nah, definitely not.
He's like, who?
But yeah, this takes a very modern take on Leatherface and the storyline, as you see a bunch of goofies holding on their cell phones as they're about to get chainsawed to death.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much what the movie's about.
There, so we got the good dunk over here. So I saw they reviewed the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, TCM. So make sure you go check out their channel. They did their review. I didn't watch your review, guys, yet, because I didn't see the movie. So I'm definitely gonna watch that probably tomorrow. But they're saying it was the worst movie I reviewed this year. Wow. I'm trying to think if there what else was pretty bad. I mean, we're gonna get into our reviews, but there you go. If you want a early look into what the Gadunk guys think about it, they did not like it.
Wow.
So yeah, because like I try to avoid any reviews until I watch it. And then I just kind of binge it, and then I binge a bunch of people and see like a lot of their takes and stuff like that. So I'm definitely gonna check out the Gadunk tomorrow, and watch their review on it. But we'll get into our review in a little bit. Let's talk about some of the good stuff first, or some of the good stuff you liked about this one.
So good things about the movie.
If any.
Sorry, I'm drawing a blank here. The best things that stood out to me that made me go like, ooh, I like that, were some of the killing, some of the gruesomeness, the detailed like gore that Leatherface showed in this movie was nice. He used his classic sledgehammer and chainsaw
Uh,
that he took out of a wall. Anyways,
yeah.
uh, favorite part, it was short. It was a short movie. It was a short
Yeah, it was
movie.
pretty. It was like an hour, less than an hour and a half. So,
Yeah.
which is probably for the best.
The gore was pretty good. Blood
I'll
splatter
give it
was
that.
nice. I'm trying to really reach here. Uh, you know what, the accuracy, in my opinion. Maybe you can touch on this with how medically accurate putting on a face to your face would be.
Uh,
It looked pretty damn real to me. It looked like skin stretched up. Ooh, that's what he's known for, right? He cuts up the faces of his
cuts up the
victims.
face.
Um, one thing they got right, in my opinion, when I envisioned Leatherface, right? So not too much from the movie, but the video game. There's a video game that's coming out very soon, but not that video game. I'm talking about Dead by Daylight. So he is a playable character in Dead by Daylight, and in there, he is known for doing two things, maybe three. He's known for camping his survivors or his people that he's trying to kill. He will camp you on the hook, and he does so using a perk called Insidious. Now, what does this perk do? It makes it so that you're silent, you have no terror radius, you can't be heard, you're really like a ninja. And the fact that he was like, not spoiling too much, but the fact that he was trying to kill somebody that was below his house, it wasn't a basement, which is like what he does in the video game, but that was pretty damn accurate. There was a scene where like he knows someone's coming into his house, so he like goes to hide behind the door. I was like, oh my god, the video game, he does that. That's about it. As far as the movie and the storytelling, I'm trying to think of things that really stood out to me, but the accuracy of how they captured Leatherface was okay. Was okay. I liked that's it, man. The gore. The gore was really stood out to me.
Yeah.
Am I missing something? You want to touch on maybe some of the good things that you found?
I don't know. I mean, the gore, I'm right there with you. Like my girlfriend does not like gore. Especially gore for the sake of just being gory, which is definitely what this movie was. And I like gore, so it's a little different. But yeah, that wasn't too bad. I mean, there's a part where one of the main characters, Dante, gets like his like face sliced. I thought that looked pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't know how like actual accurate it is. I mean, a lot of this movie is the accuracy is just thrown out the window with like everything. But I thought that the graphics on that looked cool, but the gore was cool. One guy in the trailer you see gets like bashed in the head, which was damn,
Yeah.
But I mean, I think even with that, it carried on too much. Like it should have been one, and then it should have cut to the girl and just have the blood splatter. Because then by the end, it just looked like him bashing a melon. Like actually, like legit. So I was like, I'm like, oh, you took a good thing, and you kind of went too much with it. But yeah, man, I think it was short. Like the Good Dunk guys were saying, it was probably the best thing, one of the best things, and the gore, it was pretty cool. I liked how Leatherface looked. I thought that was pretty cool. I did like somehow, I don't know where he got the apron again, but he got the apron. We'll get into the whole chainsaw part of it because Jesus. But the face was kind of the face was kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, not much good in my end of it. You just want to get right into the bad stuff.
Yeah, one last thing, I guess was a good thing of the movie was bringing back one of the original characters from the first one. I'm glad they had a little callback to her. Execution wise wasn't the greatest, but the fact that they brought her back, that was cool. That was a cool moment.
Yeah.
But
good opportunity, poorly executed.
Well said.
Yeah.
Well said.
Yeah. And I don't think that's the original actress.
I'm no?
Pretty sure. I don't know. I have to look. Her name's like Olwyn Ferrara. She has a weird last name. But But I mean, at this point, it's 50 years, so
Yeah.
it's kind of no, it was a different woman
Snap.
played Sally
Would
back
have been
then.
cooler if it was.
Would have
Yeah.
been, but yeah. So let's get into some of the bad stuff, man.
Okay.
Here, real quick, we got Gadunk. He's essentially Jason or Michael Myers, which isn't like the original. Yeah, yeah. That's kind of one of the things I was going to kind of get into. But that's a really good comparison. They were trying to make him a different super villain, I guess. Horror villain, I think is a good horror villain that he's not. But yeah. All right, so go ahead, man.
With bad
Might get into
things,
that.
there's a lot. My number one bad thing was decision making. Decision making in this movie was terrible. And I know, like, you're talking about a bunch of naive young adults that are trying to make, this old ass abandoned town come back to life. Okay, right? I get where you're going with that, but like, they were stupid. They were bad. They okay. Without spoiling too much, right? They go into this town, and if you're a bunch of young investors, you got to be doing your homework, right? They go into this town, and the main issue with this movie was that they had the deed of like a lot of these buildings, except for the orphanage.
Well,
They thought they did.
They thought they did.
They thought they did.
Yeah.
And in doing so, the town looks like a fake. It did.
It did.
It reminded me of that one Call of Duty map in Black Ops 1, where that was pretty much a Hollywood set too. I forgot what it was called. Firing range. If you watched or if you played Black Ops 1, kind of looked like that. But decision making was terrible. All the way to the end. Sally, right? She could have been a hero, right? She could have got all the last characters out and been like, hey, here's the keys. Get the fuck out of here. Let me handle this guy by myself, right? And then they could have played that whole, cliche
like
where,
revenge.
yeah, right, where cliche where she gets her revenge and then like she struggles and then like the kids that were supposed to drive away come back and save her. They could have did that. That would have been cool. Nope. She said, nah, y'all staying right here where you're like a sitting duck.
Yeah, you're bait. You're bait.
And she tried to duke it out by herself, and just reaction time was shit. The freaking people on the bus, as you've seen in the trailer, like no one's looking to exit out the windows. No one's like really looking to use logic. Everyone's just holding their phones up. And I get it. We're living in a day and age where everyone's so glued to their phones, right? I get that part. But you start a chainsaw in front of me, I'm running the other direction. That's me.
Yeah. If you bring in a chainsaw, I was like, and then you're like 6'7" or whatever, it's like, nah, which looks like blood on you is just so stupid. Real quick, I don't mean to. He says, oh, dude, you're gonna get canceled. Done. I was like, are you serious? Does he look like a person that? What? It's just,
not give up.
I was like, that's so stupid. It was such a stupid line.
They really thought they ate with that comment. They really thought that, oh yeah, that's gonna just do numbers saying that. No.
Yeah.
That was so bad. But yeah, well said. Another bad thing that really like was like a what the F moment was, okay, they pissed off Leatherface because they end up getting his caretaker, which she's old as shit. How is she taking care of him? But anyways,
yeah.
Leatherface tries to get revenge because spoiler alert, they indirectly get the caretaker killed. Just because they had her like heart rate go up or something. Maybe she had like a heart condition. Who knows? They didn't really dig into that. Didn't really matter. But all these years, right? Leatherface, who, by the way, like if you know a little bit about Leatherface, he's always having like hatred in his heart. He's always wanting to get his rage on. And of course, he's not going to do that to the caretaker, right? Whoever like watches out for him, but he'll express that shit somehow. Like whether it's cutting meat, he was like a butcher in his past. And with the I'm sorry, the chainsaw, why the fuck was it in the drywall? Why was it in the wall? That made no sense to me. Like you could have put that on like a trophy case. He could have did so many other things that would have been better than having it in the drywall. Why?
Yeah.
Why? There was no. I kept trying.
So
this was on Netflix, and I watched it a few times. I couldn't put it together. Why?
So there is a throwaway line that you kind of really missed. So as she was dying, she like tells him like, I couldn't. I only watched it the one time, and I couldn't. I should have put subtitles on for it because I couldn't tell if she said "Don't go in my room" or "Go get it in my room," which I'm assuming she must have put it in there. Right? So I was like, because that's all I thought was like, I guess she knew who he was. Which what? Like, like he's even in the movie, they'd say like he's killed a lot of people. It wasn't just like those kids from the 70s. I guess there's a bunch of people, So it was like, so she knew who he was and like was like, oh, don't worry, hun. I was like, huh? It's like, what?
Yeah. Well, I can kind of see that in the original first one, his like the family that he was with, they knew how he was. They just chose to let him be as evil as he wanted it to be because
they were just as bad as him.
They were. Exactly. Well, yeah. Good point.
If not worse. They're the reason probably why he was the way he was probably. But
yeah. So I'm guessing she didn't care about the Confederate flag that was posted right outside the orphanage. Why was that posted outside the orphanage? Don't know.
They're in Texas.
Yeah. But I don't know. I've never really seen Leatherface as a racist character. Not that he thinks that deep. But it was a little weird. Just throwing that in there was a little off for me. I know it's Texas. You got a lot of people down there that will flaunt this flag. But yeah, that just okay. One thing I guess I will touch on is in the video game Dead by Daylight, Leatherface is not portrayed as racist, but a lot of players that are racist players that play the game, they know of a mechanic that was just taken out of the game where if as Leatherface, there was a secret Easter egg that if you sacrificed the 4 original characters 25 times each, you could unlock their faces and you could wear that as a cosmetic in the game. One of the characters that are one of the OG characters is a character called Claudette. She's an African-American character. So a lot of racists ruined this cosmetic for everybody else, and they kept wearing the face, the black face, essentially, and targeting the African-American characters in the game. Like they would literally tunnel them or like forget about everybody else and just kill the black characters, and they made him racist in this game. He's not a racist character. He's not ever portrayed as a racist character, but the racist people that used him ruined the cosmetic for everyone because now the developers took that cosmetic out the game. Rightfully so. It was a tool used to be racist, and boom, took it out.
Yeah.
So throwing that little Confederate flag was like just, I don't know. I guess the reason for it being in there was so Dante could get triggered, right? And have him be bogus towards the old lady. That's the only way I see that going. But it was just, it was dumb. It was pretty dumb. Anything else that I'm missing? I know there's a lot of things that are really bad.
No.
But...
Yeah, I mean the real quick, the Confederate flag too. Like for me was kind of I mean the whole sequence of it was silly. Like it being there was like, okay, I guess it's an old ghost town anyway, and that flag was probably flown more than the American flag in most parts of Texas. So I'm like, okay, but I'm like, also it's like Dante lives in Texas. Granted, he lives in Austin, which is a little bit not I guess as bad, whatever. But it's still Texas. I was like, dude saw that flag since he was born. I was like, dude, like I understand why they he was mad and upset, but also was like, you live in Texas.
Yeah.
Like you've seen that flag so many times before, and it wasn't like a pristine flag. It was all beaten up and torn up and stuff like that. And then the old lady, kind of said she forgot about it. She's like, oh, her granddad or her brother, whoever, somebody gave it to her. So, and then it also was like, and then it made it silly. It was like he couldn't get it off. He couldn't get it down. So it was like, so you're expecting this old lady who is on oxygen to what, reach out, get a ladder? Like, I'm like, but then you get mad at her and like start calling her a racist and stuff. But it was just like man, is it? But that was that whole, they're trying to be woke in the movie, which I hate saying stuff like that, but like this one actually tried doing it. And then they literally made everyone an asshole in this movie. It was like, oh, here's these Southern, guys, they're all assholes. Here's these kids from the city. They're all assholes. Here is like everybody. Sally, who you expected to be like the big hero, she was an asshole. I was like, what the hell? Does everyone suck? Like at one point, another thing I didn't like was like the only one that was like not an asshole was fucking Leatherface. It was like he's just getting revenge for you killing his mama or whatever the hell her name was, Virginia. It was like that's what because like, which I didn't like that part either. Is like he's in her room wearing her face, which is weird, and then pulls out her dress and starts putting like makeup on and I couldn't tell, but I think I had a part he was crying. I'm like, what the hell is this? I was like they want us to feel sad for Leatherface. It's like,
here's the thing that
but I don't know. I mean, that stuff. And then like what the Gadunk guys were saying was they were trying to make him be a Michael Myers and Jason kind of thing, like just unkillable. And that's not who this character was. I mean, this character was based off a real life person, Ed Gein, so Freddy or Michael Myers and Jason is a little bit different because they're more like supernatural kind of, where Leatherface was based off a real person, which kind of changes how that character is, and here, he gets shot by a shotgun. He drowns, I guess, or he's supposed to drown. Mm-hmm. The dude's not dead. I was like, okay, like, there's a right? At this point, at least, if not more, because it's been 50 years since that movie, and just say he was 20 at that time, so he's 80 around. I would say around 70, at least 70, if not 80. So they were trying to do the whole Michael Myers thing with the newer Michael Myers Halloween movies, where he's old, quote unquote, but still like can do all this stuff. Yeah, I had such high hopes for this movie. And all the weird things that they decided to do in it was just, even like in the beginning with
these
kids, they're kids, and me and my girlfriend were talking a little bit about it, and it was like, how are these like 20-year-olds buying a town? Like, and it was just, it was
my ass.
And then what they're trying to get away from, and then they had a school shooting in this whole movie too. So I was like, Jesus Christ, it's like they were just trying to hit on everything that they could possibly hit on, and it was just, it just seemed weird, like I don't know. It's like, I wish Brian was here, because I kind of want to ask him, was like, okay, being like a black man, especially in Texas, I mean, Brian didn't live in Texas, but Texas is not known for being very doesn't have a good history of stuff like that. Why would a young black man be like, I'm gonna leave the city and go to a middle of nowhere town in Texas? Like, what? Yeah. So, oh yeah, he gets chainsaw too. Well, he gets, which I thought was stupid. Why do you uppercut? What is it? You have a chainsaw. Like
Drive
throw it
in.
in there. Yeah. She
Yeah.
like does this weird uppercut thing and it cuts to that weird scene from them looking down. I'm like, what is going on? Meanwhile, the whole time she's covered in shit. Like we forget about that.
Oh yeah.
You know? Like she's on the bus and you're telling me no one on the bus is like, hey, what's that horrible smell? You know?
Right.
You know, so yeah.
I got a theory for that. What if they all had Rona and lost their sense of smell?
That's why they're starting a little cult. Oh man.
Anyways, yeah, she really was covered in poop. She probably dragged a bunch of poop on her way inside the bus. Yeah. But, a lot of things didn't make sense.
I know it's a big movie trope, and it always bugs me, but it's like I hate when they call out like, "Hey, guy who can kill me," and then they turn around and then like she had this assault rifle and didn't know how to shoot it. And like, and I'm like, really? Oh man, like, and then she winds up running away, and it was just very, very weird. Yeah, because I get the whole thing is like she was supposed to be like over her trauma from the school shooting kind of stuff, but
yeah,
and it was there too. Said I was mad watching this movie how bad it was. It, in the beginning, I kind of like, all right, I'll wait. I'll because I'm like, it didn't make sense why these kids were going there. Like they wanted where did they get all this money? They were young, like they were influencers, I guess. And then all these people decide to come and live out in the middle of nowhere, which is funny because South Park just made an episode about that, about all these city people moving out to the middle of nowhere and ruining places. So, it wasn't their best episode, but it was funny. But it's funny how it went along what this movie's doing, because it's making fun of the city people who want to get away from the city life. I was like, no, like, so it was so upsetting, man. And I legit gave it a shot. I was holding out to the end. I was like, come on, and it hurt.
I watched it, I think, twice, and first time I did from start to finish. It's because I want. Well, let me finish. So the first run, watched from start to finish. I tried to give it a chance. Second time I watched it, I just kept fast forwarding. I wanted to like look at key moments where I'm like, why are they doing that? And I try to pick apart, the scene and pause, and I'm just like, I was trying to give it a chance. I really did. And I regret it, but I tried to watch it 2 times. I really, really, really tried, because he's such an iconic character. Even the first movie, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, that one was, from what we both kind of concluded, it was also a terrible movie until the last 15 minutes. But like, I was hoping, like, man, you can't get worse than that. And then here they go doing that. But anyways, I try to pick apart things that were like visually appealing, or things that try to make sense. The dude with the hat, the one that lived in the town, that he was making the deal for Dante to come through. Like, his decision making was shit. I don't know why he took everybody's keys. All you had to do was keep Dante's keys so he wouldn't leave or something, like. And they, when you're doing an investment like this, you swap information anyways. So what if he did, try to do the old lady bogus, he gets her killed or whatever, just get his ass back legally, and I'm sure maybe that's not how they do it in Texas, but there were so many other routes they could have taken with that dilemma.
Well, real quick, even with that, it was like not even 15 minutes before that when they're like kind of talking, and he's like, oh, as long as I get paid, I don't give a shit. I'm like, so you went from not giving a shit as long as you got money to like, you hurt the old lady, how dare you? You can't leave. I was like, that's kind of a big change in what you were saying.
True.
True. Yeah. You just want to get into our ratings of this one?
Sure. So kind of going to be a never, or a never. No, I'm kidding. So us two spoiler kings like to rate movies a little bit differently here at the Nerd Huddle. So anytime we watch a movie and we give a rating, it's either going to be a watch now, a watch later, or a watch never. A watch now means drop everything, go spend all your coin towards this movie because it's that good. A watch later means the movie was okay. You can put it on the back burner, maybe watch it later on when you got some free time doing nothing, maybe washing dishes or something. And then a watch never means don't give this movie any time of day because it's that bad. Don't even give it any of your money. So with that being said, let me start off first, if you don't mind.
Go for it.
I want to give this movie a watch never. A watch never. As good as some of the gore was, right? I like the gore. It was, you could have just threw on Saw 1, 2, or 3 or whatever, any Saw movie and get your gore fix. Because that's all it was. It just, they played to that trope for like a few seconds. It wasn't even that much gore how I expected. You know, dude with a chainsaw? Come on, dog. Anyways, it was so bad of a movie that it kept taking me out of the movie. When you get me watching a movie, I don't really have a great attention span. So if I see something that just drives me away, I'm literally going to get up, walk to the next room or do something. And that kept happening. I kept, I kept pulling my phone up. I kept getting distracted and I'm just like, nah, I'm not trying to see the movie. I had to see the movie and I wanted to see the movie. But it just, the decision making in the movie was just so stupid. It was not logical. Nobody in this movie was doing the right thing except Leatherface, getting revenge for the sweet old lady. Also, I don't know if you know about Leatherface, but he's not that bright of a character. He doesn't experience emotion that deep. I don't really think he would have given a shit if the lady would have died. But that's just me. That's my take. What about you, Tank? What do you think about the movie?
Man, I'm right there. I'm giving this a never. I mean, just skip it altogether. If you remember Leatherface being like a cool character back then leave it. Like let that memory be the thing that that you have, because this was just I don't know. It didn't make him like scary, you know, how like Michael Myers and stuff like that. There are a few scary parts when he first kind of became Leatherface, but you know, like you said, the gore, but I don't think it's worth sitting through a very bad movie, you know? Like it just was not good. Not good. And I can't think of a part where I'm like, oh yeah, that was really awesome, besides just some of the gore. But that's usually pretty easy to do, you know, especially with a character like Leatherface. I mean, they had crazy gore back then, because this like this movie or this genre franchise was kind of made that, like the super, you know, gory kind of stuff, you know, him throwing them on the hooks and you know, chainsaw and everything and stuff like that. But yeah, they tried making him a character that he wasn't, and I didn't like that. You know, I just, you know, I didn't like him becoming like a Michael Myers kind of character, and also I didn't like him becoming like emotional like that. I thought that was a little weird. You know, like in the original movie, he was more of like I won't say like a dog kind of character, where he's like point and, you know, the family said go kill, and then he went and killed. Like that was it, you know. And here it was like he was getting revenge. You know, like he didn't care about Sally, you know, until she tried to kill him. I mean that whole decision making from Sally was so stupid. I was like, so you just stood there and let him leave, let him walk all the way back to the car before you decide you want to shoot him in the shoulder with a shotgun? Like, what the hell, man? Like, she became a Texas Ranger, so she was a badass. And she was doing shit like that. I was like, what the hell, man? What the hell? So yeah, it's a never. And I think this is a movie where we both got nevers.
Wow.
I mean, there might be one or two other ones, but this is probably the, you know, if we're right there with the Gadunk guys and Anna, you know, none of them liked it. You know, the Gadunk said it's the worst movie they reviewed all year. And Anna was like, I was so mad watching this movie how bad it was. I mean, that's rough.
Yeah. That's rough. I just realized you pointed it out. We didn't see a meat hook in sight. That's his thing, isn't it? In
Yeah.
the game,
Yeah.
the Dead by Daylight, by the way, the whole thing about putting people on the hook was inspired by the Leatherface franchise, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It was inspired by this movie. So the fact that he did that for this game that I love so much, this one right here, this little cool icon, I didn't see a meat hook. He's supposed to be a butcher, right? Or he cuts up the cows and whatnot. Didn't see any of that. They missed the mark time and time again in this movie.
Big time. And then just to end it, so Rotten Tomatoes, the audience gave it a 33, which is pretty bad. That's definitely one of the lower audience scores that we've seen like ever.
True.
And the tomato meter for the critic side of it gave it a 30. So audience and critics both said it sucks. So
Makes sense.
because usually you'll have one side like it and one side not like it. Or they both like it. When both sides, the audience and the critics, don't like it, that is not good. That is not good. Yeah.
What was this?
If I went to the theater to see this, I would be pissed. Since it's on Netflix, I'm just upset I watched it and didn't spend extra money on it.
Yeah.
But anything else, man?
Nah, it's a big oof. So I know I watched it a second time, and I would not watch it ever again. I really tried to give it a second chance, and that was a mistake. Would you watch this movie again?
No way.
No way.
I mean, I don't know if my sister's a big horror film, person. Her and her boyfriend. My mom likes horror films. I'm gonna tell them like, don't waste your time. Like really don't waste your time. And anybody who else is like even a big horror film, like I really thought this was going to be a great one just from the trailer. And if you want to enjoy this movie, watch the trailer. That's it, because the trailer has the best parts in it, and just like let it live in your head. Like, oh, it's great. Yeah, because an hour and a half of this was not good. Oh man,
short movie. And
yeah. But that is it for this one from us. If you're watching live, hang out. We're gonna do our giveaway announcement pretty soon. If you're watching on replay, on the VOD edited version, thank you. We appreciate it. Make sure you check out our Facebook group. We're doing our Oscar contest that's going to start pretty soon. We're going to start rolling out with our Oscar reviews that me and Alfredo have been doing for the past couple of years. So that's going to be fun leading up to the Oscars. And we're going to do a little contest. You pick the winners, and whoever gets the most winners correct, they win. So, but that is it from us, unless you got anything else.
Nah. Stay in school.
Yeah. All right. But we will see you guys later with next week. Next week, we were doing Studio 666, which I'm excited for. A good, funny horror spoofy movie starring the Foo Fighters. So that's going to be awesome. Hopefully. It sounds awesome. You never know. We might get another sequel, another repeat of this trash. So,
Hope not.
Hopefully not. Yeah. But all right, guys. We'll see you guys later.